show it to anyone so he could give a final approval. Well, tell us about the beginnings of the company, Mr. Bob.
Well, it goes back quite a ways. Actually, it started, I was introduced to the typewriter business in 1948. That's almost 60 years ago. When I got out of high school, I was able to land a job with Underwood Typewriter Company as a typewriter repairman. After finishing the typewriter repair school, they put me out making calls. And I loved the work. I absolutely knew that that's the type of work that I wanted to get into, the office machine business. And that was the introduction into the company, as I'll tell you here. After working there for almost a year at Underwood, I was joined the United States Marine Corps Reserve. And I'd been in it for about 6 months, and the Korean War broke out. I was sent to San Diego for combat training and boot camp there. And after I was in Korea for about 2 years, I had about 4 months left at my duty in Korea. My commanding officer sent a letter, Underwood sent a letter to my commanding officer in Korea, inquiring about my well-being, letting me know that I had a job when I returned back to the States. After about a month or so, I was transferred to the maintenance platoon, where finally, after several thousand men, one man had been found that could serve as typewriters. I was put in that platoon, and about every month, a week or 2 weeks, a truck would pull up with broken typewriters, and I was commanded to repair. What a great job that was. And I got a lot of experience, not only from where I first began, but I got about 4 months experience in servicing just about all of the machines that was made at the time, which was Smith Corona, Royal, and Underwood. When I returned to the States, I was married, and I did not go back to work for Underwood. I was offered a job with Royal Typewriter Company, which at the time was the best machine on the market. It was the hottest machine on the market. I worked there for about a year, and then I was trained on the Royal Typewriter and their electric. And then I got a job with Oklahoma Typewriter Company as a typewriter repairman and part-time sales. So I had experience in service and sales, and I decided to go into my own business with the knowledge I had of repairing. So in 1956, May of 1956, I started my own company, called it Southwest Typewriter Service. We started in my garage. The only thing that helped me back was capital. I had no money. So I borrowed $50 from my mother, and that was the beginning of the typewriter business.
Did you ever pay her back?
Yes, I did. That was one of my my main goals, was to pay my mother back. And another reason I started, I wanted to be my own boss. I had that drive. Some people call it the entrepreneurial drive, to have my own company and be my own boss. And so I did that, and I could make more money. And so that's when I started my company.
I think one of the things that marks this company is people thrive in it that have the ability to be their own boss and to take on responsibility and to build opportunities without having to be micromanaged.
Absolutely. That's the reason we are where we are, you know. And the employment of Tom Russell, when he had that, Shannon had that. We've had many people in our company that are managers now that has that entrepreneurial spirit, and that's the reason we're where we are today.
Wow. So when you started the company, what'd you call it? Where was it? And what were the products that you sold and serviced?
Okay, when we first started, it was strictly typewriter service. I did not have a machine to sell. I had the knowledge to go out and service equipment, and so that's what I did. I went out and knocked doors and repaired typewriters, and if I could not repair them, I brought them in. I was able to rent a typewriter for $3 a month for each typewriter from Oklahoma Typewriter Company, and I used those machines for repair loans. If I couldn't fix them in the office, I always carried a repair with me and a machine with me to put down for the repair.
So those were like early day loaners.
Those were early day loaners, yes.
You know, what would be a typical presentation or pitch that you would make when you would first approach a prospect?
At the time, I'd been in the business for, let's see, 48 to 56. I'd been in the business for 8 years, and I knew a lot of these people. And they knew me, and they knew my ability to fix their typewriter, and it was not really that difficult. Later on, as I began to make calls, and the people that I had worked for, they would tell these people, "Don't do business with that kid." Said, "He's here today and gone tomorrow, and he works out of his garage." Well, I'm still here, and they're gone. And I'm talking about Underwood, Royal, Smith Corona, and Oklahoma Typewriter Company, and I'm still around 50 years later.
That kind of is reminiscent of a knockout punch from your boxing days there, Bobby.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.